is Mike Smith. It's culture-based safety, and it's a step to zero. One thing about safety is when you're doing acquisition work, one of the first things I always check is a safety record, because you can always tell how well a company is managed by a safety performance. If you don't take care of your people and don't take care of the other assets, pretty much don't have a company. So with that, Mike has been a safety manager since 2016 with Pavement Recycling Systems. He has 23 years of service. He was branch manager from 2001 to 2016, an operating engineer with Local 12 from 81 to 2001. And Smith's experience included road construction, highway milling, and paving. With that, Mike.
And that concludes my presentation. You just said it all for me. I appreciate that. So thank you, everybody. Like I said, I'm Mike Smith. First, I'm going to have to learn how to use this button here. There we go. I just recently came into the safety field, so I'm not a presenter. I'm a field guy. I work. I got my boots on. I'm ready to go out to the job sites today, so bear with me, and we'll try and make this painless. So I was volunteered today to try to take the focus off of all the graphs and all the compactions and all the mixed designs and all the spread ratios that you guys have been going through for the last 2 days, and put your focus on what makes it reality. The troops, the people in the field. That we have to start looking and take that focus on what makes this come to happen. All the guys in the field, is our troops, are the ones that make us all in the field. So the focus today will be on culture, the good safety culture, versus a compliance. Just a little bit of background. Like I said, I joined the union in 1982. That young man right there is me. A little malnourished, in my opinion, but that's me. That was the biggest, largest grinding job in California at the time in 1982, and we were doing that with Valentine Construction, and Yeager Paving was paving behind us. And I always feel bad when I look back at this, because we broke down a lot. And as a youngster, being away from home for the first time and being out in Baker in the middle of the desert with nothing around and working 80, 90 hours a week, living in hotels in Baker. For those of you that know Baker, I mean, even today I wouldn't stay in hotels in Baker in 1982. So that was an eye-opener for me. You know, it got me caught up, but it also showed me how much money you can make in this industry, and I was hooked. Whether that's a good thing or not, I was hooked. I also had the opportunity to run that piece of fine equipment. That was a motor grader with a 5-foot milling head installed. It was a nightmare going around cul-de-sacs. Our grade control on that was a chain that was hanging on the side of that box, and for every link was 1 inch. So the goal is, if you were going to cut 1 inch to 0, you drug a link. I would go home at night and say, what am I doing? What am I doing for a living? Okay? So fast forward, you know, technology has changed. Operations equipment has gotten better. I came to work with Pavement. I started running good equipment at that time now instead of motor graders. And as we look into new technology with the working machines now, our operators are spoiled, right? They don't have to do near as much as we used to have to do when we were running machines. These things set themselves in the ground, they operate on themselves, they have camera systems, bells and whistles that go off, folding conveyors. They do almost everything on their own but change teeth and load themselves up. I'm sure Working's probably working on that. That's coming up. The same goes to say with the larger mills, the 12-footers. Our 900 can be safely and efficiently operated by one individual on top. The controls and the safety and the top and the mobile controls on these things are so good that it doesn't take 2 people anymore. It takes 1 individual to run these things. So technology has come a long, long way. Every time you think it can't change, it does. Like Mike was referring to, the innovation is huge. And of course, the best for last for this group, even our recycler trains. Taking advantage of all the innovations that we see in the industry, the safety features, they're running more proficient, more safe, they're getting more done, have come a long way in the last 4 years. And that's all because of you guys in this group right here. So kudos to all of you. These trains, from when he first started to up to now, are not even the same. So the same can be said for safety, right? So for the last 10 years, safety has really changed in our industry. It's really come up. Makes sense. The cost of doing work nowadays keeps going up. Insurance rates going up. You have to have top-rated safety, like he was referring to, in order to even get to be able to bid projects now. So safety has come a long, long way. If you refer back to the first couple of pictures, when I was doing this, we didn't wear hard hats. Very rare did we even wear a vest. We had an orange shirt. Sometimes we washed them, sometimes we didn't. Right? That's just the way it was. I could tell you stories of sitting in the back of a pickup truck going 15 miles an hour backwards, seeing who can get cones the fastest and stack them. Right? Or in the bucket of a skip loader, grabbing and moving arrow bores. You don't do that anymore, right? So technology has come a long way. In California, you could drive down the road anytime you want in California, any morning, and I'll guarantee you, you will see a safety huddle somewhere on the side of the road. Either in construction or maintenance or landscaping, huddles and safety is huge now. We have to. We have no choice. That's just the way the world is going. We need to protect the troops. And it's being recognized that we need to get better. So do we still need improvement? Well, in the construction industry, 6 deaths almost per 100,000 workers. OSHA is 2.2 per 100,000 workers. We're almost 3 times the fatality rate. 2017, there were 69 fatalities associated with construction workers in the state of California. That's 69 individuals that got up and went to work. Probably kissed their family goodbye, went out to make a living and didn't come back. All right? 1 in 5 workers that die in our industry is in construction. 1 in 5. All to the cost of $13 billion estimated annually a year for fatalities and non-fatalities injuries in our industry. So the answer is no. We haven't done enough. We have to continue to improve. We have to continue to get better. We want that to be 0. We don't want to see an end. Now, this first slide, I said that I was going to focus on culture. But we have to have a compliance. For those, especially for us that live in California, compliance is what keeps us in business, right? Compliance keeps us out of jail. Compliance keeps us being able to have profits so that we can work. OSHA fines are going up. OSHA, MSHA, Cal OSHA, Fed OSHA, daily, weekly, yearly, coming up with more and more policies, more changes to existing policies. Every time you get your IIPP ready to push out, what happens? New policy. You have to add a new policy too. So compliance is a necessary evil. We have to have that compliance. Compliance keeps us in check as a company, keeps us in a go. But a good safety culture keeps the troops in line with the compliance. So what is a culture? Simple, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but culture is a shared attitude, values, and goals. Right? That's all it is. Culture has to be 100% participation. You can't force culture. You can force rules, you can force compliances, but you can't force culture. You either have it or you don't. Culture has to be 100% participation, and it has to be at the top. It has to start from the top down. That's everybody, including the CEO and the president of the company, has to be engaged in culture in order for the safety culture to work. It will not work otherwise. Guaranteed. It will not work. We always like to push it and make the connection with the seatbelt law. For those of us that were driving in the state of California in 1986 when the seatbelt laws came in effect, we bitched and moaned, right? Oh my God, it's an invasion of privacy. Why do I have to put my seatbelt on? It's my car. If I want to be thrown out the window, that's my business. But we did it. Why did we do it? Because there was fines associated with it, right? We don't have to pay $200 because I don't have a seatbelt on. You fast forward now, it's a proven fact, seatbelt saves lives. It's a culture. Our kids, my kids, they don't know any different. They grew up with a seatbelt. They grew up being buckled up. It's a natural habit to get into a vehicle and put your seatbelt on. I hope all of you are doing that. Our kids don't know any different. It's the same thing with safety. Building a true safety culture is no different than getting in your vehicle every single day and putting that seatbelt on. You get up, you get dressed, you put your work boots on, you grab your hard hat, you grab your vest, you grab your glasses, and you go to work. It's a culture. It's something that you do instinctively to protect yourself. When we do that, we have to lead by example. Like I referred to before, it has to be a buy-in from the top to the bottom. If your CEOs and your presidents are not participating in that culture, then you're going to struggle. Everybody in our company, every individual in pavement recycling has the right and the responsibility to stop the president of the company or any other individual but coming onto our work site if they aren't properly PPE. If they don't have their hard hat on and their safety glasses, we respectfully walk up to them and ask them to move off the job site. That's walking the walk. You have to be able to. If you can't walk the walk, you can't talk the talk. If you're not going to vote, you can't complain about the people that are getting voted in. It's a simple logic, right? You have to explain the why as well. So, your kid's going to run out in the middle of the street. Tell them, don't you run out in the middle of the street. What they say? Why? What's the answer to us parents? Because I said so. Is that the true answer? That's not the right answer. How about that big dump truck's going to run over and squish you like a sloppy tomato and your sister's going to get all your toys? That's a better answer. Now they understand that, right? You have to explain the why. So one of the first things that we did a couple of years ago when we decided to go from a compliance-based company to a culture-based company, we went on a road tour. The safety team went and visited every division in the company. And at that time, I think we had 5 or 6 divisions. From San Diego, Sacramento, Bakersfield, Phoenix, Nevada. And we sat down with everybody for 8 hours. The first 4 hours in that meeting, we didn't have any bosses. No bosses were allowed. And believe me, we took slack over that. They did not like that at all. What we wanted to do was engage the troops. What we wanted to do was sit down with our troops, and we wanted to explain to them why a company has compliance and why a company has culture. What's the difference between culture and compliance and why they're each important and necessary. We wanted to bring out engagement. We wanted our troops to open up. And we knew by having bosses in the room, they weren't going to open up. By not having bosses, it's amazing what you can get people to come out and start talking about. It was their company, their culture. We wanted to hear from them. We wanted to know. And we wanted them to understand what culture was. We wanted to change the perception of safety. When I got involved with safety, the perception of safety was we were cops. We come out and we would write you up, right? We wanted that change. We wanted them to understand that safety is working for them. Safety is on your team. We want to do what helps you out into the field. So we started and we wrote down and we went through a lot of items. We got them to open up, and we realized that the more we encouraged participation, the more they started engaging. The more they started to open up and let us know what they seen and what they wanted to change. And it also is, when we came to safety, everybody had the power to shut a job down. Every individual operator in our company will always be backed 100%. If they're on a job site and they're asked to do something that's not safe, they will not do it. That is a strong safety culture. We believe that every individual can shut a job down. That's what you do when you build a good, strong culture. It also gave good motivation, because now they're starting to understand. Now they're starting to see that we aren't the bad guy, right? We're on their side. And the theme through all this, through all these areas that we went to, all the things they started writing down, the biggest theme was they wanted to be recognized. They wanted to know that everything that we were asking them to do, the safety sheets, the accident reports, that those were meaning something to the company, that those weren't just something that we were telling them they had to do and then throwing them in the trash, that we were actually utilizing them. That was a simple fix. The company already had a newsletter. One of the fastest and quickest things we did was we started putting more pictures. We took 75% of our newsletter was field-related pictures, to where they were seeing themselves in their field and their jobs in that magazine, in that newsletter. Then we mailed them home. We mailed them home because the spouses on the other end needed to see that we were protecting their people when they went to work. They were the ones that weren't seeing this. It was a group effort to see that. Just that little bit of recognition went a long way. We had a wife who called or emailed and said, I loved your article, I love your safety newsletter, I read it every month. My husband comes home, he talks about all the changes, but I'm wondering why he's never recognized in the newsletter as a safety standout. Don't know. We called the manager immediately. The next month, that individual was in that newsletter. And that went huge. He is one of the best safety guys we have. He believes in that now. That's a proven culture for them. So a little goes a long way. You have to, just like I said, if you don't walk the walk, you can't talk the talk. You have to live the culture. If you're not believing in the culture that it's a 24/7 culture, safety doesn't stop at 5 o'clock, guys. Safety continues with you constantly, every single day. And as leaders, and managers, and as president, our troops look at us. If we're asking them to put on their $7.88 pair of Z87 glasses, and then the president comes out at his $150 Ray-Bans, what is that doing? That doesn't do any good, right? We have to we have to show them that we have to preach that. We have to do it around the clock. So let me make a full circle on this. So we talked about perception and accountability and alignment, a good way to move into a safety culture. We talked about perception. I talked a little bit about perception, and what perception was one of the first things I had to change when I came into safety. I remember when I came out of branch managing, my cush job, sitting behind a chair just working at a computer every day and into safety. I was riding with my son, who was 13 at the time, and taking him to hockey practice. Yeah, we play hockey in Bakersfield, believe it or not. And I told him, now my kids have grown up with me. You know, I adopted 3 kids in Bakersfield, so they've all grown up with me and they've known me as the boss, right? Why did they know me as the boss? Because my phone never quit ringing, right? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I always brought my phone home. So they knew me as the boss. I told my son, I'm going to change positions. And he looked at me and he goes, cool, Dad, you going to be the president now? I said, no, that spot's taken. I don't think I'm going to hang around until it opens up. I said, I'm going to go into safety. And I kid you not, he looked at me and he said, Dad, nobody likes the safety dude. What? It just floored me, but you know what? He was kind of right. As a manager, when the safety manager or the safety officer, whoever it was at the time, would call you as a manager and say, I'm coming up to visit your jobs, what's the first thing you would do? On the phone, hey, safety's coming into town. Make sure you got your hard hats on. Make sure you got your vest on. Make sure your cones are out. Second thing, you go out to the shop, you stop picking up trash. You're making sure the oil's cleaned up. You don't have anything on there. Why? Why did we do that? The perception. I didn't want to be roading up. I didn't want him going back down telling my boss that Mike's not safe. He has cigarette butts outside. His oil ain't labeled properly, right? I didn't want that, so we had to change that perception. The accountability. Doing what we say we're going to do when we make a promise. When we went on that tour, we created a list of action items that they put together, that they wanted to see changed. We took that list back and we put it all down, all on one big group. We didn't stop there. I took those lists and we put it in our business plan. I put it in the business plan purposely so that I could share it with everybody. Why? Because I wanted to be held accountable. I wanted my group to be held accountable that we were going to do what they asked us to do. It was their ideas. Some of them were small lists, some of them were extensive lists, but it didn't matter. It was their list. It was what they wanted to see changed to help them build their safety culture. We put it in our business plan. When we would knock one of those things off, we didn't just check a box and move on. We shared that. It might have been an email blast. It might have been in the safety newsletter. It might have been a visit to that branch. But we let them know. We did this item for you. Simple things, little things. Putting more PPE in the foreman's room. Done. Hanging up nice safety bulletins. Done. Changing more recognition in the newsletter and posting it to the bulletin boards. Done. Little things go a long way in the recognition of your troops. The last thing was alignment. By far, the hardest thing that you'll ever see in you getting into a good buy-in on a safety culture will be the alignment. To getting 100% buy-in from everybody. And I'm not up here, I've been a manager long enough, I'm not up here to blow smoke up anybody, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie. I know profits drive business. Profits is what grows any company. Profits buys us new equipment. Profits buys us innovation. Profits fund this fine week we're having. I know that. I get it. But production and safety drive profits. Safety is a profit center. You cannot make money on any of your projects unless you're safe first. So if you go out and preach and get the culture built that production and safety equals profits, you're on the way. It's a simple goal, right? When you refer back to what is culture, it's a goal, the goal that everybody participates in. That is our goal. It's a simple goal. The goal is to create a safety culture to 0 accidents, 0 injuries, 0 work comp. Easy. Safety is easy, right? Taking that step, that first step is not easy. Step. Safety takes every person. We talked about that. 100% buy-in. Step to 0. The belief that safety starts here. I am responsible for safety. The belief that safety is brought in from the top to the bottom. The belief that everybody is accountable for safety. Believe in the fact that every accident is preventable. We don't have to see the 69 fatalities in California, right? The belief that we can change that. Taking that first step, that's the hard part. So for me, I'm just going to push it back at you guys. When you leave here and you go home, what's going to be your first step to 0? That is all I have, and I thank you very much for your time. No questions.
Any questions? Any questions?
Oh. He's wearing the same shirt.
Well, I wanted to bring something up to emphasize a little bit. You know, being an employee for Pavement for 30 years, nobody wants to report a near miss. It's like admitting your fault, but can you express and emphasize how important that has taken our company? As hard as it was to get people to buy into it, now that they report those near misses, it helps us and it helps everybody on the team.
Yeah. So near misses can be gone either way. Near hits is what most individuals like to call them. So the first time that near misses were brought up into our company is we actually had an individual that wanted to put the near misses on a card and reward those that turned in a near miss. So what happens? We were getting 300 cards, right? Everything was a near miss. Not wearing your hard hat, 3-point contact. But a near miss is critical in a large company because it shows trends. And near misses are used and utilized with us because we like to share things that kind of happened that didn't cause any injury or any damage to the rest of the troops. And we're such a widespread company. We are Arizona, Nevada, and California, that it's critical that when we follow trending, just like with your safety sheets and stuff, the near misses is a way to share examples to other divisions to stop those from happening. Now, I'll be honest, I'm on the fence on a near miss because they are looked at in different ways, and they can be, like I said, brought in the wrong way if they're not utilized the right way. And I had met with an OSHA guy who told me that if you have a stack of 200 near misses and you don't have any corrective action, you need to be putting them in the fireplace, right? So you got to be careful with them, but they did bring a lot of strength into our company. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.